All right, welcome everybody to episode 16 of Beyond Beats. I'm Medic, and we got DYVN here.
I'm back from the
dead. Yep, we're back. We took a 1 week break, and we're back, and we're just going to be a quick episode today. We're just going to be talking about one topic, which it's also the reason why we're only doing one topic today is because DYVN's been knee deep in finalizing his album, which we talked about in the previous episode in 15. So do check it out for some early context. But just to sum it up, we've got a lot of artist collabs. I don't know why we're saying we, but I'm just saying I'm helping you lay the groundwork, which is DYVN's got a lot of artist collabs coming up in his upcoming album, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk about what it's like to work with an artist as opposed to what we do more of art, or at least with me, more of my time, which is just making instrumentals. And how does your production approach differ between the two scenarios? Right, and like to clarify, when you say working with an artist, you mean working with a vocal artist, like rather than just making an instrumental beat. I did air quotes for the audio listeners. You do check us out on YouTube though. So do you want to dive straight into it, or should we I almost feel like I want to ask you, how have you been, because it's been 2 weeks since the last episode. I've been sick. Oh, true. I've been just hanging in there. I lost my voice. I couldn't really do a lot. I was collecting all my powers to sort of keep working a little bit on the album. And because for those who didn't listen to our last episode, I just started recording my first album, which will drop in quite shortly, actually. I'm a little bit behind on schedule, and I also, as you can tell, switched my studio setup because we moved our bedroom into my old studio. My daughter's now room, because she used to have a corner in the living room, but she wanted to have her own room. So we always said whenever she wants that, she'll get that. So we moved an actual kids room into our old bedroom, and my studio is now in our living room, which is awesome, actually. Dad. Yeah, exactly. Step aside. No, but that's actually pretty dope. I actually quite enjoy that, because I feel like I'm way more connected to the family, and I'm just not in my secluded space. I know what you mean. So it just feels good, actually. But that was me asking you, how have you been? Yeah, no, that's true. How you been, man? I didn't know how much you wanted to share at first either, because I remember getting some of your voice memos from last week when you couldn't do the episode, and your voice sounded pretty far gone, and it was it didn't sound like you were in a good place. But otherwise, I've been good. I haven't been. I haven't been producing much lately. I've actually been diving into playing more guitar and taking some online courses and trying to learn the theory and practice my scales and modes a little more, and I'm trying to apply it in more of my playing, because I sometimes I feel like I'm getting to a point where technically I'm not really playing much differently than I have been playing compared to a few years ago, and this is one of the things that I wanted to work on this year, which is just to work on the technical side of things a little bit. And I got into March without really doing anything about it, and then that's when I kind of started. You woke up. And it's refreshing. It kind of rekindled my kind of love for the instrument, Right.
rather than just looking at the computer, looking at plugins, and got that. So yeah, I've been taking some online courses and getting some textbooks and drawing out some guitar diagrams for myself, and so I got that coming up. I've got that been doing that the past week, and also this Saturday I'm gonna be co-hosting, or going to be hosting an event at this place called Rise Radio in Brooklyn. It's going to be the Lo-Fi Festival, New York City edition. So yeah, I've just been kind of laying some groundwork for that as well. So not making music directly, but also doing stuff that's like adjacent to it.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Oh, damn. I can't believe, like, we talked about that sometime mid or late February. I can't believe March has gone so far already that and to me, like, I've just been like laying very low, so I can't believe March, we're so deep into March already.
Yeah, so I kind of had mid-March. It's the Lo-Fi Festival is going to happen on March 18th. I had that date circled in my calendar, and it was so far away for me. During when New Year's came around, and now it's like happening this weekend. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to start taking some guitar lessons. I'm going to start doing this.
You can hear my dog like nervously going up and down, because whenever my wife is not here, shout out Iggy, whenever she's not here, he's like nervously listening for the door, trying to find out if she's here or not. So sorry about the dog background noise.
All good. But, Jack Russell energy, man.
100%. But yeah, to like dive into the subject, I still have that song that I just worked on that I've been mixing, playing in the back of my head. Shout out Kubwasa. And so I finished up, or I'm in the process of finishing.
I love
up.
that track you did, by the way. That single you guys did.
It's
so catchy.
The All I Need.
It's just. Yeah. It's like dun 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 dun.
Yeah. That's all I need. Yeah, but just wait until you hear the new one. That's all I can say.
Yeah. I think you guys got a good sound.
Yeah, I always love collabing with him, and that's, I think, my first like insight or tip I want to share is just like find artists that sound like the artist that you like. Because for me, when I heard him, I had like instant Anderson .Paak vibes and other artists, but I was like, I can make sounds that sound sort of like those sounds that I enjoy listening to with him. So it's almost like his voice is like an instrument that I can hear on my beats. So I already know what kind of beats I want to make when working with him, and I can always sense how he's gonna sound on that beat, and that's like the first thing when picking artists to work with. Besides, like getting in a cool flow first, like getting to know the people, becoming friends first, and or at least like building like a friendly relationship, and just really like knowing who you're gonna work with. For me, that's super important, that I feel like we've got a good connection going. I can pitch my ideas, especially when it comes to song ideas. Sometimes these are like touchy subjects that you want to share with someone so that they turn it into a song or something. I think that's also super important, that you feel like you have some overlap in your life's experiences if you want to make something that also reflects on you as an artist or as a person. So that you can kind of make a song that's not just someone rapping on your beat. At least that's what I want to make, but something that I feel like speaks for me as a person as well. Where I feel like there's a reason that my name is also on there as a primary artist, as opposed to just being the producer in the background.
I just wrote down 2 words, sound and topic, because I think you touched on a couple things in there that are quite relevant, and I want to make sure I didn't miss it, because I think a lot of people well, first off, I think it's very important to approach it. You got to be a fan first, and I think you do that well, because you got your A&R hat on, and you do A&R stuff for the label, and you got a good ear for what would fit. And so I think, first of all, trust your ears and explore. Yeah. And I guess also identify people who you want to build with, right? And I don't know, like how are you finding, and I guess put your A&R hat on, like how are you finding these artists, and do you and I think you mentioned you were making you make specific beats for certain people, and rather than just building like a folder of dive beats or something.
I've
right?
never done that. Yeah, I always like make custom beats for the artist, because like I said, to me, voices are just like another instrument, and they can just add a little bit more meaning in most cases. So with words, in case that wasn't clear. Yeah, so I always want to make sure that I make something that really fits that artist, and to me, it's a great opportunity, like to sort of go outside my regular spectrum as a beat maker, because like those two vocal tracks that I'm currently working on my album, one is like a super like 4 to the floor funky track with Kabwasa, with like falsetto vocals and all of that. And the other one is like a breakbeat sort of, like stab samples. I record like a bass line on my bass. And like both songs featuring Jamel, by the way, shout out Jamel. And both are songs that don't really fit that aren't what I would produce as an instrumental single or something, but are definitely tracks that do fit into my sound world, I want to say. So they have a good place on the record, and for me that's a great opportunity to make something different, while still tying it all into one bigger picture. I forgot the question.
Well, I was saying, like, just put your A&R hat on, like what's your process usually in
for sure.
Finding
one thing I want to add for this album specifically is that I love working with the same artists again and again, rather than doing 15 collabs with 15 different artists. I rather try out different artists, working with different artists, of course, for like smaller projects, singles, whatever. But for me, like building a relationship over time, like Kabwasa and Jamel are both artists that I've been working with since the beginning of my career. I think Jamel was like the first, back then he was still going by the name of Jay. The first rap track I ever made was Warp Time back in October 2019. So pretty much in the beginning of my beat making career, or like within the first year. And we still make songs, and I feel like they still get, they just get better and better because we know each other better and better. So that's for me the first key to really making good songs, is like know the people you work with. And since we're not not in the same room or not even on the same continent, it just takes time to build that relationship. But it's something to me that I really like investing my time in, because now I've got those two bangers on my hands that are ready to go into my album. And they both delivered those songs within a week. Like I got them those beats super late, and they were like, no worries, man. And I knew they will deliver, so I wasn't like sweating about it, because I knew they will just make it, because I know their processes. I wasn't afraid to send my feedback or something, because and in the end we got some really good songs. So harvesting relationships.
And I think, like, but in terms of like looking for the sound that you're compatible with, like are you looking on, like, I don't know, jazz rap playlists, or are you looking on Instagram hashtags? Like, I think what would be or are you looking on like different curator pages? And to kind of decide.
I haven't like really worked with anyone new in a while, to be honest.
I see.
So I think my wife actually discovered Jamel back on like a lo-fi playlist, like in a lo-fi rap playlist when he still rapped over lo-fi beats. Like he changed his sound, his name, and everything a little bit. So
shout out Jin.
Yeah. And he's like friends with Kabwasa, so I think that's how I found out about him. So I'm like,
I see what you mean.
I'm basically like collaborating with that group of people in California that they're all like friends, and I'm like the awkward German dude sitting in Sweden, just like, hey, I got beats.
Yeah,
no one knows where I got from, but we still collab.
I think, long story short, there's really no kind of, all this stuff kind of happens for a reason, I guess. There's really no, formula to it all. I mean, I guess there, for some people there is, there's like people who send out email packs of like their stuff, but I like that there's an organic
definitely, like
too.
I was gonna say, if there's a formula, it is definitely like build an organic relationship. Like I would never like send out like badge emails or something, because that's what you're gonna get back, badge replies. Badge quality replies.
Exactly.
So just be a human being, and then you're gonna find other human beings, I guess. Though I would say, playlist wise, definitely like the jazz rap on Spotify, I think is a good place. I think another artist I worked with last year, T. Peters, UK rapper, we made a bunch of tracks together, and I think him I discovered on the jazz rap playlist, but he also did work with Lesky. So many names in this on this episode.
Just drop them.
So that's how I knew that that he's legit or whatever. And so that's how I knew that he's approachable for me.
Right.
But I think in the end he hit me up or something. I don't even know how that came by, but playlists definitely, like, find that sound, that voice that you like, and just hit them up.
So I think in short, just make sure when you're not producing, when you're not making beats or whatever, put on your kind of A&R hat, or just be ready to explore. And I think that's what you did, and be ready to connect and build as well, in addition to exploring. And the second thing I wanted to highlight, which is the second thing I have written down, is topic, because I feel like you mentioned it last episode, or I don't know if it was last episode or if it's some voice message, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think your process this time, you actually, with some of your tracks, you actually approached these artists with certain topics that, this track you want it to be about, and then you want to kind of guide them to certain ideas and topics. And I think that's like an added element to this collaboration that, I think you should share more about.
For sure. It happens. Sometimes it happens like this. Sometimes like that. Sometimes I'll just send over a beat, and I'll be like, I feel, just maybe dropping some keywords or something, maybe a title, like a preliminary title I had in mind, and just being like, this is where this could go. And then sometimes I get something in that, like with a similar feel, or sometimes I get something completely different back, and it's dope too. Like, I think with Focus, that's like the first track Wasa and I made. I just sent him like, let's make a track called Focus. that's it. And like, I didn't even know like where this is gonna go, but I just it was part of an EP, and I felt like Focus would be a cool word to have on that EP. But I had no lyrical input. With the most recent track, there's even like 4 lines that I wrote on there. But
that's cool.
Yeah, I think he like changed changed it up a little bit towards the end, but I sent those to him, and I was like, and I basically sent him like a super long email of ideas that I had for what the song should be about, and then he made his own, including a title, like for the hook, and like a like the main line for the hook, which Julia came up with, like we discussed on the last episode.
right.
My wife. And so like I said, it's oftentimes I have some ideas where I feel like the artist will maybe, that's something like a theme or something that I see on their other songs and that I connect with, and I want to like, dive deeper into that or something. With the song I made with Jamel, it was kind of funny. He like reposted this TikTok, and I was like, I'm so feeling that. Let's make a song about it. And I was kind of half joking, and he was like, yeah, let's go, man. And I was like, okay, actually, like, let's go. So
what do you mean? As in you sent. He made a TikTok of
no, he like
beat you made.
He like reposted a TikTok.
I see.
Like
I see.
Something on TikTok that he saved and shared in his Instagram story by someone else. Just like it was something. I see. Some thoughts that someone had, and I was like, oh, I'm
and
really.
And then you made a. And then you guys decided to make a track around that,
about
whatever
that based
idea.
On that TikTok,
Okay, yeah.
And then I made a beat. I think for that track I actually made like 3 or 4 different beats, which I didn't like the first 3 ones, and then the last one I sent him like a sketch, but I felt like this is going somewhere, and I was like, are you feeling that? Because I was very far out of what I usually make. Like I said, like a break beat with a super busy bass line, and I was like, can you like hear yourself on that? And he was like, for sure, because I couldn't hear his voice, but I wasn't sure if he's gonna mess with it. So so I fleshed it out and sent it to him, and then now we have a song. It's called Wait. If you want to go back to, if you listen to this at the point where my album is out, the track I'm talking about is Wait.
Wait, all right. We will be waiting. But I thought that was really cool because just a lot of times when you think about collaborating with artists, the artist takes the instrumental and then they just, flesh it out with whatever they're thinking about at the time. And then, the producer or the beat maker doesn't necessarily always have a say in like where the art, because ultimately that's kind of the nature of this collaboration, right? The instrumental, the artist kind of fills out the instrumental with whatever they're thinking about in whatever time period. And and the fact that you also wanted to have a say in where you want this to go, I think it speaks more to about how this album is really much more of a dive in. I'm not saying the artists, I'm not discounting their efforts, but I think your level of input really sets the stage for this dive in album.
Right. Yeah. I agree, and that was something that was really important for me, and something that I didn't. Oh, my battery just died from my face light, so sorry everyone, now I have a gray face.
Oh, that's all.
That's something I wasn't sure how that's gonna turn out, if that's gonna go the way I intended to go, the way I imagined it to be in the end, and it really did, and I'm really, really happy it did. Having 2 out of the 4 vocal tracks, I'm also gonna have one more track with Austin Salter, shout out to him, and Jin, of course, shout out to her.
Nice.
So that was really important to me, that I have at least a certain input on the storytelling and the sort of coloring that these songs give add to my album as a whole.
Right.
And I also want to add that I sent sort of like the beats I sent to those artists are like basic beats, sort of, but there's no like transitions yet. There's no like fancy filler instruments or something, because I wanted them to have that like plain canvas and sort of just rap on it or sing on it, and then I'll sort of produce it, like really fine tune it and really like add all those little fine details after I got their vocals to really make it match and really like not just make a beat. I'm doing air quotes again, but really like produce a song that I've got, rather than sending them a finished beat and be like, because I really want the music and the words to like tie together, like as if we were in the same room when making it.
Right. So it might just start off as like I don't know, like a loop or like a 1632 2-bar loop or idea.
Just imagine like sending a beat. There was some level of arrangement, although like in the case of Jamel's beat, I told him like to chop it up and arrange it to his own liking. But just imagine all those filler notes that you play in the guitar, to like fill out the stereo field and all of that, and like drum fills and stuff like that. All these are not in there yet. Yep.
Gotcha. But the theme.
The theme is definitely in there.
Yeah, the theme is there and everything. Yeah. And I think that's very important too, because you're building as you go, and you don't have to worry about finishing something before you send it out, and that helps kind of make things more efficient in that sense. So you could like get your ideas out quicker. Well. Just curious before we wrap things up, like what do you do with the tracks that aren't selected by the artist? Do you give them the old delete treatment?
It's usually not even that I don't like. It has never happened to me that an artist didn't select the song.
Right.
It's that I didn't send them out at first, because I was like, this is not good enough. I don't want them to sing on this or rap on this. So I'll just delete it onto the next one.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess, delete it first.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to add to this topic of working with artists for episode 16?
When
is the album out again? You don't have a release date, because I feel like we
do. I think it's June 23rd.
Okay.
And we've got like 4 or 5 singles coming before that. So
okay. But June. Okay.
Yeah, first single drops in May. I forgot the date, but sometime in May.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
we'll be.
I think the first vocal track, since we're like on that topic, will drop on May 18th. So
you heard it here first.
Yeah. I'm so good at self-promoting. I'm really, really good at that. Yeah.
But I think this will be a good little time capsule of we're recording on March 13th, and when June 23rd comes around, there'll be stuff that we could look back and unpack and see how things played out.
Yeah, and I'll get back to mixing some vocals now.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
All right, that wraps it up for episode 16. It was short and sweet, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you for tuning in, and make sure to check out our Spotify playlist, as well as liking and subscribing